Welcome, dear learners, for today's discussion on basics of hypertext markup language of the course Web-based Technologies and Multimedia Applications. Today, we will be looking into some basics as well as some tags of the language called hypertext markup language, and in this we will be looking into in what way these tags can be used to render the text on the websites. Basically, whenever you are looking to any web page, the one thing that is not visible is the language behind what you see. When I say language, first of all, let me speak in general about the word language, and let us not think from the perspective of a programming language or a markup language or any other type of language. Now, I am conversing with you using English. So, basically what I expect from you, that you also understand English. So, when I say something, you are in a position to do something, it means that you understood my language. Now, suppose you cannot understand my language, you do not know English, then what happens? So, whatever I say, there should be somebody in between who can translate it to you in your native language. It can be any other language other than English, because if it is English, you can directly understand. If it is not English, then you need somebody in between. Now, in the case of machines, what happens is, like you take a computer doesn't know any language. A computer is nothing but it is a collection of some components, okay, iron, everything in it. Now, to make it understand, what we have is something called programming language. So, there are a lot of programming languages. We have C language, we have Pascal, we have Fortran, we have C++, C#, Java, and many, and Python, which is very famous at this moment. So, what are all these languages? They are called programming languages. So, what happens? I write something using that particular language and I give to computer, and computer understands. Now, you may get surprised. How is it possible that computer understands this language when it can't understand English or any other language? So, basically what happens is, there you have somebody in between, and that somebody in between is called technically a compiler or an interpreter. So, a compiler or interpreter, whatever they are, what they do is that they take our language, I mean the software which we write using the Python or C# or whatever it is, and they communicate to the machine in its language. What is the machine's language? It is called machine language, but then there are some more languages prior to that before the translation reaches the machine language. And what is machine language? Machine language includes ones and zeros, okay, so that is binaries, only ones and zeros. So, it is a combination of ones and zeros that is understood by the machine, but we cannot communicate with the machine using ones and zeros. So, what we do is, we write in a language that is a Python or a C# or something, and then the corresponding interpreter or compiler will translate it into the machine language of the machine and gives to the machine. So, machine will understand this language and follows the instructions. In case we give any wrong instruction, it follows the wrong instruction. Machine has nothing to do with what you asked it to do. So, whatever you tell it to do, it will do. If there is any error in what you say, then your compiler or interpreter displays the error. You set it right, then ultimately it will be compiled or interpreted, and then it will be presented to the machine in its language, and machine will perfectly follow it. Now, this is about in general a computer. Now, we are speaking about internet. Computers are there far prior to the advent of internet. Internet has come very much later. Computers are there even prior to the internet. Now, when computers, I mean internet, now when internet has come into advent, there are what are called browsers. So, if something needs to be displayed in the browser, we have to communicate it with internet. How we communicate? Using some language again, and that language starts with HTML, and then there are a lot of other languages which enable us to make beautiful web pages, and those languages are after HTML, and you have a dynamic HTML, you have XML, There are a lot of languages, scripts which you can mix up with HTML and come up with beautiful web pages. So here what we do is today, first of all, we will look into some fundamentals of hypertext markup language. So basically the objectives are to look into the basics and also some HTML tags. Now HTML, it is the standard markup language for creating the web pages. And as I already told you, HTML stands for hypertext markup language. HTML describes the structure of a web page. It consists of a series of elements. These elements tell the browser how to display the contents. Basically, when I say elements, they are nothing but HTML elements. And HTML elements label pieces of content such as this is a heading, this is a paragraph, this is a link, and in many more ways. So basically, whatever you want to display on the web page will be there, but it will be sandwiched between or with HTML tags. So these HTML tags tell the browser software how to treat the text in between them, and the same way the text is treated. For example, you want the text to be displayed in bold, then you have a tag in HTML, you use it, the text which is in between the corresponding tags will be made bold. The same is the case with italics or any other font or style. So many things can be done. You have numerous number of tags. It will be good if you can by heart all these tags, because immediately you will get an idea which tag to use and how much beautifully you can do things. Other way is that you imagine the look of the web page and then dwell into how to come up with that web page and check what tags and other languages that are to be used. Basically, HTML will describe the entire structure of the web page. Structure means what comes first, what comes next, what are the links, what should be highlighted, what should not be highlighted, where are the images, where are the animations, how to display them, in how much size they have to be displayed, all these things. So, for example, let me say that when we are making a HTML document, we will be also using a tag to inform that the type of the document is HTML. Then we will be having some tags such as HTML, then head. Whenever we speak about HTML, that particular tag should be in between the angular braces. So HTML, head, title, and again the closure of the title tag, closure of the head tag, then the body starts. So basically this is the normal structure of a web page. So the structure of a web page starts with a HTML tag. Then the structure ends with a closed HTML tag. So most of the tags in the HTML, they have both starting tag and ending tag. Then there are also tags which are only starting but they don't end, because that type of tags doesn't need to be told where to end. So you have two types. Now the basic structure will include both starting tag as well as ending tag. As you move, you can include those tags in between the starting HTML tag and the HTML which is ending, that these particular tags are also used to show to the browser how to render them on the web page. So the minimum tags that you will be using in any HTML page are the title of the page, the heading of the page, and the body of the page. And in case you are putting things in the form of a paragraph, then you can use also a paragraph tag. Now let me say that, for example, you want to say that this is a HTML document. As you know, everything is having a version. If you take a Microsoft Word or even Microsoft Office package or even Windows software, there are large number of versions. Like currently Windows 10 is going on. Prior to that we had Windows 7, Windows 8, Windows XP, many more. Similarly, in the case of HTML also, we have many versions. The current version is HTML5. Maybe whenever in future, as you are tracking, you will be finding HTML6 also, then you have to carefully check the differences between 5 and 6. So the current version is HTML5. So, in case you can by heart all the tags that are supported by the HTML5, then you can come up with excellent web pages. The HTML tag, it is the root element of all HTML pages. The head element contains meta information about the HTML page. The title element specifies a title for the HTML page, and it is shown in the browser's title bar or in the Pages tab. The body element defines the document's body and is a container for all the visible contents such as headings, paragraphs, images, hyperlinks, tables, lists as well as other elements. The H1 element defines the large heading. Then you can have a H2 element, you can also have a H3 element which will be defining the headings but not as large as H1. Similarly, H3 is not as large as H2. So, H2 is not as large as H1. So, H1 is the largest heading. Then you have a P element which defines a paragraph. Now, if we just think what is this HTML element, it is defined by a start tag, then some content and an end tag. So, always write the starting tag, always have the ending tag and then have some content, and the content is rendered on your browser as per the tag names in between whom it is sandwiched. So, the HTML element is everything from the start tag to the end tag. So, we have tags which are having both starting and ending tag, and some examples are HTML tag H1 which is heading 1 which is at the top level among the headings and largest among the headings. Then we have P tag which is a paragraph tag. Now, one example of the tag that is not ending is BR. So, we will be looking into detail about this particular tag, but it will not have the ending tag and it does some functionality on the content or text that is followed by it. I mean that if you have a BR tag and it is followed by some text, that particular text is affected by the BR tag. So, some HTML elements they have no content such as a BR element, and these elements are called empty elements, and empty elements do not have an end tag. So, it is not essential that you always have some text adjacent to the tag. The tag itself may lead to some action. For example, you want to have a horizontal line, then put a tag. There is no need for you to put the text after that one, because a line is inserted where the tag is present in the HTML page or web page. Now comes how all these things are displayed in the browser. You have to be very careful about it, because each browser may display your HTML content in different ways, and your target should be that your HTML page or web page is displayed in a uniform manner across all the popular browsers, at least if not all the browsers. So, the purpose of a web browser is to read the HTML documents and display them correctly, but at the same time we find that sometimes the content is not displayed correctly and we have to make changes to the source code. So, some popular browsers are Google Chrome, Microsoft Edge, Firefox and Apple Safari, and there are some more. So, a browser does not display the HTML tags, but uses them to determine how to display the document. So, let us see how a HTML page structure looks like. At the top level, we will have HTML tag, then it is also having an ending tag. Okay. So, whenever you put a HTML tag, immediately it is good to have an ending tag and type whatever you want in between. There will be many tags, because just HTML tags may not be able to do something. So, normally a HTML page structure will be like starting is HTML, then followed by head tag, followed by that page title tag, and then you close the tags and then start with the body tag. The body tags will have that information which will be displayed as the content of the web page. So, the basic tags that will be part of a basic HTML page are HTML, head, title and body. These are the 4 tags with whom you can just display a web page as an experiment. only the content inside the body section will be displayed in a browser. Now, let us have a look at the history of the HTML. I have already told you that the latest version is HTML5. Yes, there are some more additions after HTML5, but I am not pointing them out, because as on the day you watch this video lecture, you can check what is the latest version of the HTML, and you may find a number that is different from 5. So, the HTML started in 1989 and it was invented by Tim Berners-Lee. He invented World Wide Web also. Then we have 1991, Tim Berners-Lee invented HTML. So, in 1989 he invented World Wide Web, in 1991 he invented HTML. 1993 Dave Raggett he drafted the HTML+, and in 1995 HTML working group defined HTML 2.0, and in 1997 we have W3C recommendation HTML 3.2 document. So, in a span of 2 years we had a version change of 1.2. So, HTML 2.0 to HTML 3.2. Then we have HTML 4.01 in 1999 and XHTML 1.0 in 2000. XHTML stands for Extended Hypertext Markup Language. So, in 2008 we have the first draft of HTML5, and in 2012 we have a living standard of HTML5, and in 2017 W3C recommends HTML5. It finalized it, and in 2016 we have HTML 5.1, and in 2017 we have HTML 5.1 second edition and followed by HTML 5.2. So, the version number is increased here. Now, there is a huge history, as I said, to HTML. There are days when people are typing the HTML text in the notepad and other text and then loading it in a web browser and checking the web page structure, how it is coming up to the code. So, whenever there is a change, they go to source, they change it and again load it in the browser to check whether it is doing well or not. But there the challenge did not get over. They have to move to another browser and check. So, whatever popular browsers they have to check and they have to do. So, this is a very cumbersome affair. So, slowly we started getting the IDEs with the help of which we can directly design web pages without hard coding the HTML. So, it is always better that we do a bit of coding using raw HTML and then move to the tools rather than directly moving to the tools, because sometimes what happens is, even if we are using the tool to make some updates, we have to go back and check the code and make minor corrections. So, do the coding initially and you think that you got expertise, and then you move to some tool which is popular so that you can create wonderful images. But when you go to the source, you will find huge HTML code, a lot of HTML code. You can't imagine writing it. Even sometimes studying it is very, very difficult, because tools generate a lot of code based on the browsers and other standards. So, good to have HTML code, and then good to know about one IDE and use it to create wonderful websites. So, first we have to learn HTML, create the HTML page, and then let us save it. When we are saving it, we should ensure that the extension is .htm or .html. Either of them will normally work, because there is no difference between them and they both are recognized by the browsers. And whenever anybody goes to a web page, normally the home page is used as index.htm or index.html. So, we better name it accordingly. Now, once we do that, we save our page and then load it in the browser and check its correctness. Then all HTML documents, they must start with a document type declaration. So, the document type indicates that it is a HTML document. The HTML document itself begins with a HTML tag and ends with a HTML tag. The visible part of the HTML document is between the body tags. So whenever I use the name of a tag, normally it is having starting tag as well as ending tag. Only in some cases the tag is endless. I mean, it doesn't have any end, it just starts, it doesn't have a corresponding closing tag. So how we declare it? The document type. So basically what we have to do is that in between the angular brackets, use the exclamation mark followed by the DOCTYPE. This declaration represents the document type and helps browsers to display web pages correctly. It must only appear once at the top of the page before any HTML tags. The doc type declaration, it is not case sensitive. Also, the declaration for HTML is also the same one. I mean, when I say HTML, I am speaking about HTML5. So you don't much think about whether it is HTML5 or anything. You just keep coding, and at a later date or a later time, after acquiring some expertise, you can think of the versions, find out the differences, and use some version specific tags. So now the next most important thing is HTML headings. HTML headings are defined with H1 to H6 tags. So you cannot have more than 6 headings in a web page. H1 defines the most important heading and H6 defines the least important heading. It will be followed by the paragraphs. You just think about writing a chapter or writing a story. Okay, suppose you are writing a short story. Definitely it is having a heading. Okay, so use it using the H tags, whether it is H1, H2 or whatever it is. Then the page will also have some title. Sometimes title and the heading will be the same. So you can put the same content in between the title tags. You can also put the same content between the H1 tag. Then the text will be there and it will be normally starting as a paragraph. So we can use the P tag for the paragraph. So again, P tag is having a starting tag as well as ending tag. So whatever we put in between, it starts as a paragraph and then that entire text will follow. It is also possible that among the hypertext markup language text, we create links. So what happens is that when you load this particular web page, wherever there is a link, when you click on that, it goes to another HTML page, or sometimes it moves away from that particular place and may be pointing to another portion in the same page. For that, we will be using the anchor tag A. So A is having a starting, A is starting tag and it is also having a closing tag. But how you really indicate it, it really is different. A space followed by href. So you start with the left angular bracket, then you type A, give space and then type href. Href stands for hyperlink reference and then equal it to whatever web page you want to go, and then close the angular bracket of A. So you open the left angular bracket, typed A space href equal to in double quotations a web page link where you want that link to go, and close the angular bracket with a right angular bracket, and then you put some text which will be the label for the link. What link is underneath is something which will not be visible to you on just looking at it. So followed by this is a link, you close the anchor tag. So this is how we can also insert the HTML links. Then the most important part is images. You know, many websites, I think personally I believe that you will hardly find any website without an image. Initially there are problems with images because they occupy huge space, and though you upload it to the web page, when a person browses to that particular web page, downloading used to take a lot of time. Then people started using the compressed formats. So using the right format and using the right size and using the better sense, what we can do is that we can definitely create a website with beautiful images and animations. HTML images, they are defined with the IMG tag. This particular IMG tag is having a starting tag as well as ending tag. The source file alternative text, for example, source file is indicated with the tag src, the alternative text is indicated with the ALT, and then the dimensions of the image that are to be displayed are indicated using width and height. So, all these attributes will be used along with the IMG tag. So, whenever there is an image, it will be having different attributes. What is the source of the image, from where you have to show that, then suppose the image is not being displayed. Because whenever you are browsing internet, what happens is you have settings for the browser. Suppose you decide not to load any images, then some text needs to be displayed instead of the image. So, you have the ALT tag which will define it. So, the basic tags of an image tag are src, ALT, then the width of the image width, and then height of the image HEIGHT. Using these tags, it is possible to include an image on the web page. Now, after doing everything and after you render it to the browser, you may be interested in looking at the source code to make some changes. For that, you can directly go to the view menu item if available, or even other menu item which is there as part of your browser. Click there, you will be able to see the entire source code, and in case you make any change to that source code, then the web page will also change. So, basically you can copy and paste to the notepad file, make the changes and test the look of your web page. So, this is how we can view the source code of HTML as well as make some changes and update it on the file or computer and then upload it to the browser, or we can open that particular text file from the browser and it will be loaded into the browser, and browser will render it based on the tags and the content that is used inside the file. So, in this way we can create HTML pages, or I have to say that these are some basics of HTML, and in future lectures we will be looking into more HTML elements that will enable you to do many things. Thanks a lot.